Hi, I'm Tarindu Veligudapolo from Sri Lanka Cibra office. I'll be today presenting this session on what are the changes that we are expecting from Android 13 onwards for our Cibra ValueEdge. All right, thank you. All right, so let's start the session. This session is all about what changes or what will be the behavior on Cibra ValueEdge in A13. So to start off, Google has introduced various restrictions on Android in the latest research, and applications had to change in order to adapt to Google's recommendations and guidelines. So Cibra also, on the other hand, looked to evolve its ValueEdge with the objective to improve security, performance, aligning with standards, and there will be some changes expecting, and some of them have already been communicated through our tech talks some time back now, and let's see what it would be like. Modifications to existing tool set. Cibra will be introducing a new staging experience to the customers from A13 onwards. Underlying components were re-architected to improve performance and align with standards. XML-based stage now profiles support will be discontinued. Even though we say discontinued, it will not be supported out of the box, but there are ways and means that you can continue to use them, but we are recommending for you to move as soon as possible to the new model. New Stage Now tool will be introduced to generate JavaScript-based configurations. We can see how it works in the next couple of slides. Scope storage is one of the major changes in recent Android research. This impacted most of the enterprise applications, how the files being managed and how files being deployed for their applications. And those will impact Cibra ValueEdge as well. But we somehow until A11 we have managed to support the legacy way of deploying these files. But moving forward, we might not be able to do it in the future when if Android start restricting further. So we have introduced a secure storage manager will give more flexibility and security to the application files during the deployment as well as during the execution. Cibra ValueEdge will support configuration file deployment via SSM, and SSM will provide a secure interface for your application data as well as Cibra ValueEdge data. EMDK will also have a different experience compared to how it worked in A11. We can discuss that further during the slides. Except profile manager functionality, other features will continue to work without any change to your application. Cibra will start publishing its ValueEdge to Google Play. Some are already released. Managed configuration will be exposed by many of the Cibra ValueEdge, and which will allow EMMs to configure them easily. Backward compatibility, Cibra has provided and will be provided alternative to keep the backward compatibility of your applications. But as I said, it's time to move now rather than late. Enterprise partition is one of the key storage capability that we have, and it will continue to support in A13 with the same access rights, but Cibra encourages you to move to more secure options available. We are discussing that in the coming slides as well. Okay. So new staging experience in A13. Android 13 and beyond will not support the staging profiles configurations created by StageNow version 5.7 and below. Even though we say that, StageNow 5.8 will allow the user to convert the existing StageNow profiles to the new configurations, so that you don't have to worry. What you have to do is you just have to export these profiles, existing profiles, and then import them to 5.8, and you can convert them to the new model. Scanning a legacy barcode to StageNow will show an error message out of the box. Zebra will give you option to move further in two ways. One is you can convert your existing profiles into the new model using the StageNow tool, or there will be an installable MX version will be made available for customers to install it into your devices, and the legacy XML barcodes will continue to work. But as I said, move your configurations to the new model for easy transition. The new JavaScript-based barcodes will have better performance compared to legacy XML barcodes. And there were delays when it comes to readiness of the framework in the past, but with the new re-architected Zebra Device Manager, which is available with A13, will allow you to overcome those delays. Zebra recommends to update configurations to niche JavaScript barcodes as soon as possible when A13 is ready, so you can try it out yourself at the early stages. Okay, moving on. MX has provided several CSPs in the past, and with the A13, there will be few getting discontinued. This has already been documented in tech logs for some time now, and these are based on the feedback that we have seen, the limitation of the usage of these CSPs, and other than that, there will be some alternatives available also. App Gallery Manager, Batch Manager, Camera Manager, Scan Mode Manager, XML Manager are the few other things that will be discontinued from A13 onwards. Okay, so new staging experience continue, and there will be some CSP features will be discontinued from A13, and if you have gone through the tech talks, you may have seen this kind of guide in the tech docs where what features will be available for you in the new version of MX, and what will be discontinued and what will be supported using different mechanisms like manage configurations and device policy manager APIs. So even though we say that there are features getting discontinued, but those features have alternative ways of doing it, and Zebra recommends to use it rather than Zebra doing it in a manner than what Google has recommended. Okay, moving on. So this is a small video I have created in order to demonstrate how the StageNow barcode can be used. So I'll play it again from the beginning. Oops. So StageNow 5.8 will allow users to convert the existing XML-based profiles to JavaScript profiles. Right. So you will have profiles created in the legacy stage now tool, and they can be converted to the JavaScript, exported to JavaScript, or even you can generate the JavaScript barcodes easily. A13 experience with EMDK. So I have briefly explained. EMDK applications will continue to work on A13 except for Profile Manager functionality. So having said that, no impact to applications which are using features such as barcode scanning or notifications, etc. But if you are using Profile Manager APIs today in your applications, they will not work out of the box in A13, but there will be a, as we discussed before, there will be a installable MX version available for you to deploy across your devices, and you can continue to use the EMDK Profile Manager functionality with your existing application. So behavior on applications tries to call API Profile Manager APIs without having the installable MX version. What would happen is an exception will be thrown in if the legacy MX version is not installed, and these are the APIs that you can see this behavior would occur: process profile async, and get instance async. So if you try to call these APIs with existing EMDK applications, you might see this error code, and the particular error message will be displayed, will be received to your application as well. So that would be MXMF is not available on the device. So to keep the backward compatibility and availability and lesser impact to your application deployment, Zebra has provided a way to continue until EMDK going to support the new model. So at this moment, we are expecting the second half of 2023, the initial version of EMDK with the new approach, so that your application will continue to work even though you don't have the MX installed in your device. Okay, so Google Play. Most of our components start moving to be released with Google Play. Why? Some are already available in there, but some are planning to be released. And what this will provide is enable users to update new versions of components without having to update the operating system in your device. And the other one would be Zebra DataWedge Google compliant. So that we used to have enterprise browser, enterprise keyboard already released, and enterprise home screen and DataWedge are planning to get released in the Play Store, Google Play. And on the other hand, there will be some additional benefits as well when it comes to when these devices, when these components getting released into Google Play. So let's move on and see what are they. So managed configuration is main benefit that we will get when it comes to when we release things into Google Play, that we can expose Google managed configurations that EMMs can easily use to configure our components. So we are currently planning to support these components in A13. with our managed configurations. Enterprise browser, enterprise home screen, enterprise keyboard, and DataWedge are top 4 candidates to support managed configuration in A13 onwards. Moving on. And file deployment. So we had several components, things like enterprise browser, enterprise home screen, enterprise keyboard, DataWedge. All these 4 components or value adds have configuration files. And what we have done was we used to configure these Zebra value adds using various ways. DataWedge used to configure via importing a configuration file to enterprise auto import folder, or enterprise browser used to download a configuration file into SD card. Enterprise home screen use the enterprise user folder to deploy a configuration file. Enterprise keyboard, the same way, files getting copied into the device and then consume them. The various components use different methods, but what Android 13 and onwards provides you is a unified way to deploy these configuration files. At the same time, we make it more secure, and it also overcomes the scope storage restrictions enforced in Android 11 onwards, but Android 13, it will be more restricted, right? So we continue to evolve our secure storage manager to provide you with more flexibility and control over your file deployment and data management. Okay. A13 experience. So DataWedge is one of the key components that we have been using in the enterprise to capture data. And one of the major feature would be to how configuration will be managed for DataWedge. So when we move into A13, there will be no change to the existing configuration deployment. We are continue to support the enterprise partition auto import folder, but this process possesses some security concerns. Why? We are writing a configuration file to a world writable folder. Because of that, anybody who have access to the device can write a file and do a configuration change. So with a secure storage manager provides a more secure file deployment mechanism. DataWedge will support deploying configurations, and there is another type of configuration files that we deploy into DataWedge, that is ng-CIMA scan templates. So these 2 types of files can be deployed using SSM, which is having more control to the administrator, and it also provides a security to these files. And today, if we take, there is a manual way of importing ng-CIMA scan templates as well as intent-based templates, but when it comes to mass deployment, you don't have a way to import or integrate a ng-CIMA scan template. So in A13 onwards, you will be having that feature via secure storage manager. DataWedge can be post-loadable in A13, what does it brings you is you don't have to wait for a OS update in order to get the new version of DataWedge. This includes features. This includes any SPR fixes that those can be um, distributed to you or deployed to you with a single binary that can be post loadable into your devices. So we are planning to release a DataWedge into Play Store as well. DataWedge administrator admin features such as uh, restricting DataWedge intent access or importing a configuration. Those things can be supported via managed configuration. Right. There is a minor change or discontinuation to two main features. I won't call them main features, but they were being there, but with the I would say with more consistent features, we thought that this configuration reporting feature will be discontinued because we don't have much of a change. This feature was introduced long time back when we were having initial versions of Android. But that feature is no more supported in A13 onwards. This has been informed to the customers tech docs in A11 itself. So voice input is another feature that enables you to get the voice data captured to your application via keystrokes or intents. And there is one feature called start phrase and end phrase. Those two, we got some feedback saying that they are not much used in the field. Therefore, we have discontinued, we have deprecated that in A11, and we are going to be discontinued those two options in DataWedge. Okay. With enterprise browser, similarly, enterprise browser configuration files will be deployed, will be supported via SSM file deployment method, and managed configuration will be exposed as part of A13 release. And there will be a discontinuation. Scanner module APIs will be discontinued in A13, and we are recommending for you to use either barcode APIs available via JavaScript APIs, or there will be an extension to the DataWedge intent APIs that you can use to capture data via DataWedge into your web application runs on the enterprise browser. The DataWedge intent APIs will be extended, and you will be able to experience OCR wedge features with enterprise browser in the next release or so. Okay. So I will be briefly going through what is Secure Storage Manager as we are moving into A13, and a lot of our value adds will be using SSM in order to deploy the configuration files as well as storing the data. And these features will be available to any of your applications as well. And Zebra's recommendation is to use these secure content provider and file provider interfaces in order to share the data and deploy the files into your applications. Data can be stored in SSM in persistent or non-persistent mode. And so what we used to have was enterprise partition was the one which did the persistent for you. Now, when we used enterprise partition, we had the problem of securing these files. Because of that, the SSM will do the persistence for you, and you don't have to worry about the security of these files or data. And as a for the regular usage of the applications or the data or files that not being persistent, we can still use the SSM. What it provides is additional security to your data and files. Okay. New file deployment and persistence, since we have already been discussed 4 main tools that are going to be used. I'll be do a brief introduction to that as well. So customers are used to deploy configuration files to the device in order to configure Zebra applications as well as their own applications. Different ways and means being exposed. So one, as we discussed, one one application would use enterprise folder, whereas some other file use external or internal storage to deploy your file. But what it provides is, as we discussed, there is a security concern, and sometimes you might find a denial of service attack can be performed on these applications if you don't secure them right. So let's see how it works. So, as we discussed, A13 will continue to support the enterprise partition. There is no change, no impact to you, but it is world writable storage and will have a security concern. With scope storage, these internal and SD cards, internal and external SD cards will no longer be accessible by regular applications how it used to be. Admins and developers still expect a mechanism to update the Zebra apps and their own applications by deploying files. So this is the solution. So let's see how I have a small video that how DataWedge configuration can be deployed into the device using stage now barcode. Okay, so as the first step, I'll be creating a profile in stage now. And there will be we are adding the file manager into the profile. And you will see that there will be a new option available, deploy file to an application. So now we have to define what application we are going to use. Here we are entering DataWedge pack. And we are entering the application signature. We can use the signature tool available in our support center. And we use the persistent option that makes the DataWedge configuration that we are pushing will be persistent across enterprise research. So here we are picking the file on a remote server, and we select the configuration file available in the PC where the stage now is installed. Okay, so we have the option to generate the JavaScript barcode here. And there are 4 barcodes generated for this particular configuration. So once you scan the barcodes, let's see what's happening to DataWedge configuration. So there will be a new DataWedge configuration created. And if we restore the configuration, since we have the persistent option in the file deployment, even though we restore the configuration, the same configuration will be preserved. You can see that GTX demo will be available. And if you do a enterprise reset on the device, you can see that the same configuration gets persisted after the after rebooting the device. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next session. Okay, so there will be one more change happening with Android 13 devices, especially the STM660 platform devices like TC7X, TC5X, TC83, PS20, etc. will be having file-based encryption by default. So what would happen is when file-based encryption happens, is not enabled. We were used to, we were only able to use the data partition of a particular application once you unlock the device. So with file-based encryption, what it provides is a way to access the data partition where you have a separate encrypted partition, but applications can use to use it to use this particular data partition to store your data. So even so direct boot applications such as applications can make use of the Android APIs in order to write the data even before device getting unlocked. So in STM660 A13 devices, this FBE device, FBE or the file-based encryption will be enabled by default. Because of that, you might have to take an additional step in order for you to transition from A11 to A13. So what you have to do is there will be an intermediate BSP that will allow you to transfer the data or preserve the data or be ready with the A13 transition. And then once you can upgrade it to A13, your data will be preserved. So that is one additional step that you have to follow when we going from A11 to A13. And if customers you upgrade directly to A13 without being installing this A11 device, A11 BSP or the OS update, you might see a data loss. So be careful when you do an upgrade into A11 to A13 as well. Okay, so I think that will conclude this presentation. And if we have any questions, we can take them.
Okay, thank you very much, Thurindu, for that presentation. That was great. So it does look like we have a few questions here. We have a fair bit of time at the end here, so let's start working through them. So first question here from Matt. When can we expect to see a version of StageNow that can export JavaScript? If we're supposed to be transitioning to JavaScript-based MX in Android 11 and have a hard transition in Android 13, then we need StageNow updated as soon as possible. So do you have an update on that?
Yeah, I think it will be available first quarter of 2023, and I can get you the exact timeline from the team.
Okay, thank you. So a question here from Jean. Is there an estimated time frame when Android 13 will be in mainstream use by our customers?
I think it is currently planned for Q1 again, or early part of Q2, but actual timelines I don't have it, but I can get that for you.
Okay, and an additional part of the question there, when will rollback to Android 11 be supported?
Sorry, James, I didn't get.
So if you were to upgrade to Android 13, would you be able to roll back to Android 11?
You should be. That is again something I'm not 100% sure, so I will try to get that information.
Okay, no problem. We'll come back on that one with some more clarity then.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question. If a device is configured with XML-based MX while on Android 11 and then is upgraded to Android 13, will the settings that were configured using the XML MX still be present on the device after that upgrade, or will they have to have all of the relevant settings reconfigured using the JavaScript MX?
Configuration should be preserved across upgrades. There is no configuration depends on 11 once you XML once you do the deployment, so it should preserve.
Okay. So this next question, I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this. It's more of a strategy question, Thurindu, but feel free to try. Why is XML-based MX being depreciated? Why are we forcing the migration to JavaScript?
So there was a strategic decision on that. One is that, as I have explained at the beginning of the presentation, some of these changes were aligned with improving the performance and standardizing the solutions, as well as mainly the performance, right? So we have put extra effort to give a better performance on these solution. Some of them you can experience it yourself, like the time that sometimes the MX framework start getting ready after a reboot, right? Those things that we have overcome, and this JavaScript based processing is much faster than XML as well. And we have not kept XML completely out of the way. We have given an option to do the transition with minimal effort to the customers.
Okay, thank you. So next question from Horst. What should we use instead of Profile Manager?
So with the first version, if you want to use a Profile Manager with EMDK, the option available would be to install the MX side loadable binary into your devices. But the EMDK Profile Manager will provide the support in the coming releases of Android 13 going forward.
Okay, thank you. So a question here from Tyler. Can we use Secure Storage Manager to deploy config files for third-party applications or applications that we create?
Yes, definitely. So you have a sample code as well as the instructions and detailed documentation in TechDoc that you can always refer to. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We can help you.
Perfect.
And sample applications are also available in there.
Perfect, yeah. So if you don't find them on TechDocs, head over to github.com/ZebraDevs and you'll see our SSM samples hosted there. So next question. Will the Play Store hosted DataWedge be com.symbol.datawedge with the same package name it has now, or will it be getting a new package name?
No, it will be the same package name.
Okay, so that would stand to reason that the package name will be the same on Android 13 as it is in Android 11.
Yes.
Perfect. So question from Lars then. What impact will Android 12 and 13 have on reading hardware serial number and IMEI? Will this still work considering Zebra provided a workaround of doing this using the EMDK Profile Manager in Android 10? So I think the question is, will OEM config be supported in Android 13?
As far as I know, it will be supported. But let me get back with the exact answer.
No problem. Yep. So it sounds like we just have a few questions for the product team there, which we will endeavor to get back to you on.
Yeah.
So final question we have here, and we do have a few more minutes. So if you have any other questions for Thurindu, now is a good time to get them in. In the meantime, a question here from Kandar. License deployment for enterprise browser would be the same, or it also goes through SSM? So is licensing for enterprise browser done through SSM?
It will be the same, similar to what we have had in A11 at this moment. No change.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you very much, Thurindu. That was our last question. It doesn't seem as though there's any more filtering in. So we actually have a bit of a break now until our next session. And because we finished slightly early here, that will be well, we'll be back at 1:15, so in 30 minutes. So I will just play in an intermission slide for the time being. You can stay and listen to the intermission jingle if you like, or please just join us at the next session at 1:15. So once again, thank you very much, Thurindu, for the session. That was fantastic. And thank you all for your attendance. We hope you enjoyed it.